what's up? This is AstroDim here. Keeping it live, keeping it real from my bed and astrology. So I'm in my bed chilling, y'all. I'm thinking about some stuff, some things, or whatever. I was talking to one of my good friends, Sama. I call her Sama Lama, about the 7th house and stuff. And so it made me think, maybe I should do this podcast on the 7th house ruler and how it can show you who you're going to be with. Well, not who you're going to be with, actually. How you're going to be, like how you're going to meet your bae, if that helps. It helps describes too, like, a little bit of the person's personality, but I only want to talk about what I said before on how it could show how you're gonna meet someone. Okay, now this could apply for your natal chart. It can apply to composite charts as well. You just gotta check it out and see how it applies to you. It's pretty cool. I definitely suggest you look at your own chart and see how it works for yourself, okay? So, this is just me telling you what's up. First, we're going to talk about what the 7th house ruler is, so you guys won't be confused, because a lot of you guys probably don't know this lingo. After that, we're going to go through the houses to see, wherever your 7th house ruler is in your chart, how it's going to show how you're going to meet your boo, right? And then we're going to go through the signs too, because how it works is that where it's located shows you where you're going to meet them, but what the sign is how you're going to meet them, okay? So yeah, it's quite interesting, quite cool. You could put those two things together and really get an understanding of how you're going to meet your life partner, your forever bae. And it's also really cool too, because like if you see yourself in a similar situation, you're like, this person might be the one. So yeah, let's get into that. All right, y'all. All right. All right, so this is going to be a short segment, shorter than the next two, where I'm just going to describe what the 7th house ruler is, okay? So, the 7th house ruler is a little bit hard to describe, so I'm going to try my best to slow it down and help you out, okay? So, the 7th house ruler, right? You look into your 7th house in your chart, and whatever you look at the sign, wherever your 7th house starts, okay? So, for me, my 7th house is in Leo. It starts in Leo. And so you look at that. Now, that's not the 7th house ruler. The 7th house ruler is whatever planet that sign is that starts the 7th house. So whatever your 7th house is, like whatever sign your 7th house is in, whatever that sign represents planet-wise, that's your 7th house ruler, okay? And so what you'll do is look at that planet, see where that planet is in your chart, and it'll basically explain and show you how and where you're going to meet your future bae, okay? So I know that sounds kind of confusing, so I'm going to give you an example, okay? And then I'm going to run through each sign and what their ruler is planetary-wise, okay? So, using myself as an example, I am an Aquarius ascendant, right? So usually that means my 7th house or my descendant, well, not usually, this is definitely for everyone, my 7th house or my descendant is going to be in the opposite sign. So since I'm an Aquarius rising, or my Aquarius, my ascendant is in Aquarius, my descendant is going to be in the opposite sign, which is Leo. Okay? So that means my 7th house sign is in Leo. Now, Leo rules the sun. Okay? So the sun will be my 7th house ruler. So I have to look at where the sun is in my chart to get a better idea of where I'm going to meet my boo. So my sun is in my 12th house. So I would have to look at 12th house matters to see how I'm going to meet my boo. Now I'm going to give you the details of that later. I'm going to use myself an example again. But that's how you basically find that information. That's your 7th house ruler. That's a great example of it. Again, you can look at this in your natal chart, but you can also look at this for your composite chart. I'm going to use an example of one of my friends that I've looked between her and her partner's 7th house ruler's composite chart, and how I was able to nail in exactly how they met. It was pretty dope. It was a pretty cool experience, because initially I always thought that I could only do this with natal charts, but you could do this with composite charts too. So that's basically the meaning of 7th house ruler. Now let's actually go through each sign so I can tell you what planet rules that sign, okay? So the first sign of the zodiac is Aries. Mars rules Aries. So if Aries is in your 7th house, you'll look for Mars, okay? Taurus. Now Taurus is ruled by Venus. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. What's the next sign of Gemini? Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon. Excuse me. Cancer is ruled by the moon. Sorry, y'all. This Mercury retrograde shadow period, it fucks me up. Okay, let me take my time with this. Okay, so Cancer's ruler is the moon. Leo's ruler is the sun. Then Virgo's ruler is also Mercury. Libra's ruler is also Venus. Who's after Libra? Scorpio's ruler is Pluto. Now I like to stick with one planet, but there's certain planets that share. Not share, that is kind of sharing, but that has like 2 rulers. Their traditional ruler and the ruler that is of today. So traditionally, Scorpio shared Mars with Aries, but we, was able to give Pluto to Scorpio, okay? So you can also look at Mars to see if it shows anything, but if I were you personally, I would stick with Pluto, but, whatever works for you, okay? What's after Scorpio? Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is another one where they... Sagittarius, for some reason people gave Sagittarius Neptune as well. Never fully understand that. It's definitely Jupiter, but again, if you want to look at Neptune as well for some ideas, feel free, but their planet is Jupiter. Capricorn is Saturn. Aquarius is traditionally was Saturn in traditional astrology, but now it's given Uranus, so I would stick with Uranus personally. With if your 7th house sign is Aquarius. And then lastly, Pisces is Neptune. Okay? So now that you know all the signs of which planets rule those signs, make sure that you look at your 7th house ruler, or 7th house, and then see what sign your 7th house starts in. Okay? Now, if you're one of those special sprinkles that has like multiple signs in the 7th house, especially if you happen to have like, say, it's an Aquarius in your 7th house, but it's in one of the last or later degrees of Aquarius, so you have another sign in there and it's more of that sign than Aquarius, or something funny like that. Or if your 7th house has an intercepting sign in there, write down those signs too in their rulers. Make sure you do that. I would first and foremost look at the actual house ruler, or the not the actual house ruler, the actual ruler of that house, instead of the planets. I'm like talking crazy right now. So what I'll do is actually look at where the sign starts, you know what I mean, where the house starts, and go with that sign, instead of looking at the sign that kind of rules that house more. Start with where the house starts, whatever sign the house starts in, okay? And then you can work your way down. So for instance, like, you know, my eighth house starts in Virgo, has in all of Libra, and then ends in a little bit of Scorpio, right? So if that was my seventh house out of my eighth house, what I would do is, first and foremost, pay attention to Virgo, since that's where the seventh house starts in this example, right? Then I will look at Libra, because all of Libra's in there. And so Libra energy will be important. And then I'll look at a little bit at Scorpio too. So in this example, I'll be looking at first Mercury, then Venus, then Pluto, maybe Mars. Okay? Those are for the people in those like weird situations where you have like a whole bunch of shit going on and in that seventh house, okay? But like I was saying, most of y'all are just gonna have probably one sign, okay, in your seventh house. So what you'll do is basically look at where the seventh house starts, see what sign it's in, and then look at that ruler of that sign, see where it is in your chart, write down where it is in your chart, okay? Write down the houses in your chart. You can write down the sign too, because the sign can tell you a little bit something in the future, but that's what you would do, okay? So if this was me again, Leo is my seventh house ruler, because my seventh house starts in 4 degrees Leo, so almost all of Leo's in there. But I do have a little bit of Virgo, or not a little bit, a lot of Virgo in there. So what I'll do, if I were you, was I'll write down Leo, and then write down the sun, and then maybe make a line and look at where the sun is. My sun is in the 12th house, write 12th house down. But then I'll also do the same thing with Virgo. Write down Virgo, because it's a lot of Virgos in my 7th house. And then look at where Mercury is in my chart. Mercury's also in my 12th house. So, just do that, okay? But again, I will be focusing more on Leo, because that's where the 7th house starts. Okay? I hope that wasn't confusing, y'all. I try my best. Mercury's fucking with me. Okay? But I hope you get that. And if you don't, hit me up. Let me know what's up, all right? But yeah, that's how you find the 7th house ruler within your chart. Now we're going to talk about, in the next segment, wherever the house ruler is at, like how it applies to how you're going to meet your forever bae. Exciting, right? Wow, wow, wow. All right, let's take a look, y'all. Hey. All right, so now we're going to talk about each house. If your 7th house ruler is in a particular house, how that shows, how is actually going to show how you're going to meet your forever bae, your life partner, your one and only. You know what I mean? All right, so let's start off with the first house. Now, as y'all remember from my last segment, the first house represents self. It represents your appearance, your personality, your first impressions. So, if your 7th house ruler is in the first house, that means when you meet your life partner, they're literally just going to come to you. I know that's probably not the clearest thing in the world, but It could be someone who is just like, I need to talk to you. You know what I mean? Like, wow, you're so beautiful. Let me talk to you. Or a situation like they hear you talking and like, wait, you know about this? Blah, 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 blah. Like, the person is going to be, you're going to know once you meet that person and get to talk to them, and you ask them, like, what made you come up to me and talk to me? They're going to tell you, like, they just was so stunned by your personality, by how you move, or your looks, or they might even feel the love at first sight type of situation. They felt like they were just drawn to talk to you, like they had to talk to you. So that's definitely first house for sure. If your seventh house rules in the first house, the person is going to go straight up to you and talk to you like it's nothing. It's just going to be easy for them, and they're not going to care. They're just going to have to talk to you. Okay. If your seventh house ruler is in the second house, see, this one's interesting. The second house represents self-worth, and it also represents material worth. The thing is, though, is even though it's material worth, it is unlike the eighth house, which is kind of like shared money. This is more like money you make on your own. So I wouldn't be surprised if this person meets their lover through like an entrepreneurial type of situation, or a situation in which, like, someone's trying to make it on their own, not with anyone's help, but they just happen to meet up with this person. You know what I mean? Like, if your seventh house ruler is in the second house, you're not going to meet a person because they're, you're talking to them because you need money. Like, it has nothing to do with shared income. It's someone building on their own. Another way you can meet this person too is through any type of self-help type of communities, self-help books, like you kind of like being in a book community, and it's about like self-helps, anything with self-help, building your worth up in any type of way. It could be in building your worth up externally or internally. You know what I mean? Seventh house represents like money too, but again, it's like your own money, your own worth. It could be like something as simple. It could be even something like, you buying something off of this person. Like, it's something that someone else, like this person owns, and you, like, maybe at a garage sale, you want something that person has, and you give them money for it, but it was theirs. Like, it has to deal with their own stuff. You know what I mean? Like, they're on their own. They're doing it on their own. They're building themselves on their own. They're making money on their own. And you see, the other person sees it and they're attracted to it. Okay. So, you'll be the person that's doing things on their own, and another person will see that and they'll be attracted to you. Okay. With that being said, before I even go further, this reminds me of when people say when you're on your path, you really get to get the blessings that you're supposed to get. You know what I mean? And when you're following the energy of your seventh house ruler, that means you're going to get the lifelong relationship that you want, or that you're supposed to get in this life. Okay? So, like I said, for the second house example, if your second house ruler is in the second house, let me say that again. If your seventh house ruler is in the second house, because seventh and second sounds so familiar. I just want to make sure y'all know this one. That means that you have to build yourself up. That means you have to pull yourself up from the bootstraps. I know I hate using that phrase because people use it wrong, but you have to be in a situation where you're gaining self-worth. You can even be working on your own self-worth. You might not even be 100%, but you working on it will attract somebody to you. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you have to be following the right path to get the relationship. And that goes with any house ruler. 7th, 8th, 9th. You get the benefits of the 9th house ruler by following wherever your 9th house ruler is in your chart. You have to follow your path. You get what I'm saying? It's dope, right? I'll repeat that later on, probably towards the ending of the segment, just so I can make sure that y'all guys get this. It's really important, okay? But yeah, 2nd house, you're going to be building yourself up materially, emotionally, mentally, physically, just building yourself up, building your self-worth, building that money up. And you're going to attract somebody, okay? Now, 3rd house. Okay, so 3rd house, if your 7th house ruler is in the 3rd house represents communication and it represents community. So a lot of these people, literally, they'll be walking around in their community, doing community work, doing community service, working with a community organization, doing nonprofit work within their own community, and they meet the love of their life. You know, you have to be a person of your community to meet the person you're supposed to be with. And that person might not even be from your community at all. It's a great chance they are, but they might be visiting and they see you and they're like, wow, look at them shine. Look at them follow. They'll be attracted about you following your path. It also represents the 3rd house. It also represents communication. Okay. So with communication, it could be honestly like someone talking, right? Someone talking on a podcast like this. And then someone's like, hear you, like they hear you talking and they're like feeling you. They're like, yes, like they're just, they're just talking I'm liking what they're talking and I'm feeling them and I just feel this weird connection. You know what I mean? Any type of communication. It could be through a podcast. It could be through a YouTube and you reach out to someone there. It could be like an accidental phone call. You know what I mean? Like you can dial the wrong number and for some reason you just start having this conversation with someone. It could be you just literally bump into someone randomly in your community and you talk to someone, y'all shoot the shit well and you exchange numbers. Things like that. Any type of communication device or being in your community. Any way where you connect with someone in your local area. Right? That's how you're going to connect. That's how you're going to meet that love of your life. You being of your community and you expressing yourself through your communications. It's not like that deep expression. Not the deep shit. It's like you just showing your shit, showing your shit. Wow. Shooting the shit, showing your personality. Please don't show your shit. Please don't show your shit. That's what I don't want you to do, okay? But is you shooting the shit, showing like the face that you show the rest of the community. Yeah, showing your just general personality. And they're just going to love it. And they're going to feel you, okay? All right. Now, the 4th house. The 4th house represents... if your 7th house rules in the 4th house, that represents generally, like, home, family. It represents privacy. But people don't know... What people don't know about you, only your like family and your close friends know, okay? And so in this situation, if your 7th house ruler is in the 4th house, I would say that you would probably meet this person in your home. You can meet this person in a home, just generally. So you can like stop by your neighbors, see this amazing person and be like, oh my gosh, and they feeling the same way and they kind of get going with you. You know what I'm saying? It could be your own home. It could be someone else's home, like via a house party. It could be definitely a house party, a house gathering, some type of house get together. It could be it could be anyone's house, just a home type setting where only personal and private things happen. You know what I mean? It could be like in your home, like say you're even in the vicinity of your apartment building. Say if it's even your landlord or someone related to your landlord. It just has to deal with home somehow. Okay, because home is where you're extremely comfortable and where you can share things, and not like extra again, not extra deep stuff, but private things. You can share private moments and private things with that person there, because that's where you're the most comfortable. Okay, so you're gonna meet this person in the most comfortable setting where you feel like you can kind of display yourself a little bit more. Okay. It could be too that honestly you get hooked up by your family member. So say your sister, your brother, your mom, your dad, your cousin if you live with them, your aunts and your uncles if you live with them. They hook you up. Your roommates even. You could be hooking up with your roommate. Your roommate could be the love of your life, or your roommate could hook you up with the love of your life. Something like that, okay? All right. Now I'm going to go do the 5th and 6th house. After the 6th house, I'm going to take a break. I'll do 7th through the 12th, okay? So I'm going to finish this off with the 5th and the 6th, excuse me. So if your 7th house rules in the 5th house. Now 5th house represents creativity and self-expression. Things that you create yourself. You know what I'm saying? It represents how you have fun as well. So you might meet this person at a party or doing anything that you truly enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you enjoy like going to museums, you'll meet the person at a museum. You get what I'm saying? So it's just doing whatever you enjoy, but it has to do with like parties and gatherings here. You have a good chance of meeting this person doing what you love, doing kind of displaying your talents, and a person sees you shine with you displaying your talents, and they like go up to you and have to talk to you or try to somehow get your attention. So say if you're like a singer, right? And you're singing, and you know the audience is cool and feeling you. But there's one audience member that just cannot get over how well you sing and how beautiful you look or how fly you are. And so they go and introduce themselves. And that could be the love of your life. You know what I mean? This don't have to be singing. It could be any type of talent you have. Any way you're displaying your talent. Shit, you can be displaying your talent at a fucking corporate setting. If the person sees you and notices you for your talents and see you shine, they're like, I need to talk to them. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that works there. The 5th house also rules children. So you might your child might hook you up. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are a single parent, you're going ahead and freaking going to your child's like friend's birthday party, and you end up meeting somebody there. You know what I mean? Or like going to your child's school and you end up meeting someone there. So it could be that as well. And it could be also too with you just creating anything. You just building and creating anything through your talents. If you meet someone like that, that's probably a life partner. You know what I mean? All right. And then lastly, at least for this segment, I'm going to go do the 6th house. So if your 7th house ruler is in the 6th house, that 6th house represents the routine or things that happen in a frequency. All right. So this is kind of like daily or frequent chores or errands that you run. So if you happen to go to the post office like 3 times a week, you know, you might just doing your everyday or monthly, weekly, daily, bi-monthly chores, you know what I mean? Or errands, you might bump into the love of your life there. And because your work environment It's also something that you go to daily, or at least 5 times a day. It's a great chance just you meet the love of your life in your work environment. They don't have to be in your team. They don't even have to work at your job, but they could just be like a customer that's coming in from your, it could be your employer's customer. You know what I mean? You just meet them in the work environment in general. It may not even be your work environment. It could be someone else's work environment, and they just see you in your element, and they're like, whoa, I gotta get that. You know what I'm saying? Again, like other daily errands, it's like, you freaking going to the gym, any like picking up, going to the grocery store, like picking up like things that you usually pick up in a everyday matter or weekly matter or whatever. Like, it's just things that you do frequently, that you always do at a specific time, specific date, or just in a frequency. You'll meet someone in that way. Okay. All right. So I went through the 1st to the 6th house. I'm going to take a little break, and then we're going to go through the 7th and the 12th house. And then we're going to do the same thing, but with the signs. So at first we'll do Aries through Virgo, and then we'll do Libra through Pisces. Okay. All right, y'all. All right, lovies. We're going to go to the opposite signs now. Or excuse me, not signs. Opposite houses. And you're going to kind of see the difference between the opposite houses and how they kind of differ. And so I'll try to mention the house that I've talked about before, and then mention the house that I'm talking about now, so you could see the difference on how your meanings will be changed, right? All right, so 7th house ruler. If your 7th house ruler is in the 7th house, that means that you're going to be meeting this person. It's going to be kind of like you two just happen to be near each other and happen to shoot the shit and just relating with each other. You could meet in a kind of small group setting, but like you happen to just be talking or relating to just this one person. Like what I actually think of when I think of this is like, say that you're like in a group of people talking about politics, and everyone else in this, like the other 3 people that you're talking to are just like totally different views from you, but this person that's also in the group that's next to you just thinks the same exact way with you politically. So you're kind of like, you start ignoring the rest of them and just starting to talk with this other person and just relate with them. Like, I kind of see it as like that. You know what I mean? You just relating to that person, having a relationship with that person, more on a compatibility side, not really knowing the depths of them, but just really relating and like kind of getting to know more of the person just by talking. And it's not gonna be like the first house. I remember how I said the first house, the person is just gonna just walk up to you and talk to you and just be like, listen, I need to talk to you, blah 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 blah. It's gonna be very passive. Like, you're gonna happen to be at the same place in the same time and just talk. You know what I mean? It's gonna be very smooth, very passive, very suave, sexy, natural, not so abrupt like the first house, because remember, they're opposites. Okay, so it'll be very similar to that, most likely in a beautiful setting, because Libra represents Venus, and Libra also represents the 7th house, or 7th house represents Libra energy. So it's going to be, they're all connected, so it's going to be in a beautiful setting. With that being said, most likely with Taurus, the 2nd house, if your 7th house rules in the 2nd house, it'll be in a beautiful setting as well. But definitely in the case for this, if your 7th house ruler is in the 7th house. Okay. All right. So next is 8th house. If your 7th house ruler is in the 8th house. Now, the 8th house represents intimately connecting with others. Now, you can intimately connect with others in so many different ways. You could connect with others through sex. You could connect through others with, through a cult, like kind of doing tarot readings, psychic readings, anything like that. You can connect with someone just and randomly just kind of spilling your guts out to this person. You're like, why am I doing this? Why am I spilling my guts out to this person? This is really, really strange. You know what I mean? You can intimately connect with people with money, with shared money. You know what I mean? Connecting with them through just, just kind of connecting with them, and you knowing their like secrets, things that only they and maybe one other person knows. Okay. Now, this is a little bit different from the 2nd house, because remember I said 2nd house is self-worth. You know what I mean? And material worth that's built from the self. The thing is that with Scorpio energy or 8th house energy, it's more about two people bonding with each other. So it's not about self. It has to be one other person there, and they are really digging deep into the emotions of the person, not the money, not the glitz and the glam and the self-worth. They're really getting to know the depths of the person, right? So that's why I say like psychic readings and stuff, because you have to kind of get into their psyche and feel their energy to see what's going on with them. So like people with the 7th house rulers in the 8th house, you might fall in love with a psychic. You might fall in love with a freaking tarot reader, an astrologer. You might fall in love with your banker or someone at the bank while you're trying to kind of get your money together. Shit, the 8th house represents death and transformation too. You might meet someone at a funeral. It's weird, I know, baby. It's weird as fuck, but it is what it is. It's such a strange house, man. It really is. It's very like, again, like when you intimately connect with others, it's kind of like getting to the secrets. Is you and that person just bonding with each other. Might be a therapist, you know what I mean? Because you have to bond with the person that you're like getting that treatment from. You know what I mean? It's like kind of weird and strange ways how you can intimately connect with others. And I'm not just saying that 7th house connection with just shooting, like kind of shooting the shit, getting to really know the person. I'm talking about the deep, secretive, that type of dark shit. You know what I mean? Even like with like death and transformation, like death is such an emotional, exhausting experience, and it's very personal. It's very secretive. People don't like talking about it. People are just like, it's the innermost, deepest feelings that people don't let out. So that's why you get to know someone through death too, through a funeral, because you get to really see the vulnerability of someone. And that's what the 8th house really represents, vulnerability. How you connect with someone through their vulnerabilities. And it's not just some of us Scorpio, so one person's probably vulnerable and the other one's just taking it. But if it's a good situation, both people are vulnerable and they're really trying to really help each other. You know what I mean? So that's definitely 8th house. How you probably meet your lover if you have 7th house ruler in the 8th house. Okay. Now 9th house. So 9th house, if your 7th house ruler is in the 9th house, that means that you'll probably meet your lover's probably, your lover is probably not from the country you're from, or not from the side of the country you're from. If you're like from a big ass country like Russia, the US, Mexico, you know what I mean? It doesn't really count for smaller countries like the small countries in Europe and stuff. It kind of counts for the big ass countries like China, like one person's from one part of China, one person's from the other. And even though it's the same country, they like live totally different lifestyles, and it's just totally different regions, and it can technically be two different countries, but they're not, because it's just how the country is shaped. You know what I mean? So it could be that. It could be it could be what I said they could be from a foreign land or from the different side of a country. You can meet them through the college or your university too, because you're learning foreign and different ideas. Any situation where you're kind of understanding and learning and getting foreign ideas, foreign cultures, foreign ways of thinking, different ways of thinking, anything where it's just totally different from what you're used to, you'll meet your lover that way. Okay. Now, it's different from the third house, because remember, the third house is your community and communication. That's kind of within your realm, within your community, within your bubble. Ninth house is asking you to go beyond that, beyond what you know. How you're going to meet someone there. So usually when you think of like higher learning in college, not only are you learning different ideas and learning different things from what you're used to, but a lot of people are going away from home. You know what I mean? They're just in a totally different location, totally different land, learning. So that's why the ninth house falls there. When you are actually learning about different religious situations and really digging deep into religion, it's a whole new world too. So you might meet this person in a church. It might be a religious person, religious leader. You know what I mean? We could rule that too. So it's just any type of like situation when you're learning foreign and different ideas and different philosophies and stuff like that. Okay. Now, if your 7th house ruler is in the 10th house, you'll most likely meet this person through your career or through your status. So it's going to be different from the 2nd house, because the 2nd house is you meet the person through kind of like you building your self-worth, making your own money, kind of you being more of a like entrepreneurial thing, kind of building your own type of money. And it's different from the 6th house, because the 6th house is your work environment. Your 10th house is you meeting someone through your career. So it's a little bit more expanded, because you can meet someone through your career that they're like, you're not meeting them because you're building your own money. You're not meeting them in the actual work environment. You're meeting them because of your status, who you are as a person. Now, status, people think they think of like the rich and famous. Everyone has a status. So you can be kind of like the illest person at graffiti on your block. You have a status. You know what I mean? You could be one of the illest people when someone was like, I want to introduce you to someone who is really good at graffiti. And you know what I mean? They're meeting you because you're good at something. It has to deal with your status, your career, things that you're good at, things that you're known for. The 4th house is different, because remember, the 4th house is comfort. The 4th house is your home. The 4th house is your family and privacy. The 10th house is the total opposite. It's not privacy. It's what you're actually known for, what everyone recognizes you as. How people recognize what you do. You know what I mean? So it's totally different from the 4th house. Okay? So that's how, if your 7th house was in the 10th house, they'll know someone from your status. And you don't have to be rich and famous to have a status. It's just they know you are known for this, and so they go and reach out to you, or someone kind of connects y'all too. Okay. Now, if your 7th house ruler is in the 11th house, that is it's kind of interesting. That's the house of friendships and networks. So your friend's gonna hook you up, basically. Or your cousin's gonna hook you up, your aunt, uncle's gonna hook you up, like your non-immediate family. You know what I mean? They'll hook you up. Someone in your network somehow hooks you up. So it can be even like a coworker. You know what I mean? Or like something like interesting, or someone or your colleague from like that works in the same industry as you, but in a different like location or a different company. It's like someone in your network is going to connect you to. And the interesting thing between the 5th house and the 11th house is, someone meeting you through your talents. But the 11th house kind of represents more how people perceive your talents. You know what I mean? So if, like, most likely how that will work is kind of similar to the 10th house. It's less to do about status, though, because you know what I mean? With the 10th house, you can be really shitty at something, but if you are known for it, you're being that's still your status. You know what I mean? 11th house is more about the perception. So you can be really good at something, less known, and then someone connects you through there. So it's a little similar to the 10th house. It's kind of still status, but it has to be really connected to the perception of your actual talents. Okay. But most likely how it is like through through the network, through someone that like your friends are hooking you up, or your cousin or your auntie or uncle, they're hooking you up with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Anyone in your network. And it could be someone in the network too. So you could be with your friend. You know what I mean? You could be with your colleague. It's like, again, someone within a network. Reminds me of LinkedIn. Okay. That's what it reminds me of. Okay. One more thing I would like to say about the 11th house too. When you think about networks, you think about the internet. You think about social network apps. So you can meet this person online through Facebook, through Tinder, and if you're gay, through Grindr, through Bumble. You know what I mean? You can meet someone through the internet easy with your 7th house Lord in the 11th. Okay. Now the next one is 7th house Lord through the 12th. Like, I have this placement. It was really, really interesting for me to try to understand. But I'm going to try to explain it to you because I really feel like I get this one. 7th house Lord in the 12th. The 12th house represents the unknown in spirituality. So I know you're like, how in the fuck am I supposed to meet this person? I know it is confusing. You'll probably meet this person in like 3 ways that I can think of. Spirituality. So you could kind of meet someone within your like soul tribe that you're really, really connected to. Don't worry, soul tribe. I don't like anyone like that in there. I love y'all, but I don't love y'all. Okay. So it could be someone within your spiritual community group. And again, it's not religious, it's spirituality. It's totally different. Okay. So religious, if you meet someone in a religious group, and it's more of like a religion type of thing rather than spirituality, and the expanding your mind with that's more 9th house kind of expansion of spirituality and the vastness of it. That is 12th house. Okay. But most likely you might not meet them that way, but it's a chance. Okay. So that's one way. The second way is through a kind of like a random situation where you don't know who the person is for a minute. So it could be a secret admirer. It could be a blind date. It could be a stalker, sadly. It could be someone that you don't really know and is a big mystery and is really confusing. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? This is so weird. Actually, I have a 4th thing that I thought of, and I'm going to bring it up, okay? The 3rd thing is you'll meet this person in some way or another, but you're going to dream about them first, or you're going to have an out-of-body experience with them first. You're going to travel in the astral realms with them first, and you're going to see them, okay? Now, that's how I kind of know who my person is, and I haven't met them yet. But that's how I know who my person is, because I dream about them all the time. And I really don't know them that much. And they keep coming up in my dream, and it feels a certain type of way. So, like, that is a crazy example that is really, really true with me. That how I know who my future lover is going to be. is through the dreams. You're traveling the astral realm and you remember the dreams that you have with them. It feels different. You know it's an astral travel. You meditate and you see their face. It's things like that. You know what I mean? Seeing them through the unknown, through your unconsciousness. You know what I mean? That's it. And then the thing that I'm thought about too is what I first assumed when I really started to get awakened. I really thought that I didn't have a twin flame or a soulmate. Like, I knew that, I had soulmates, but not like a lover soulmate. I thought that my twin flame, my soulmate, was already passed, or is in another realm, or is protecting me. And so I wasn't gonna experience that love. It's because I'm Aquarius dominant. We tend to be sort of like about love. You know what I mean? In general, we're kind of about love. I'm a 12th houser though, so I do have a romantic heart somewhere in there. But I really thought that, like, well, I feel like I'm more supposed to learn about the spirituality of love and romantic love, you know what I mean? Like, more like unknown spirituality part of it. And I think a lot of 12th housers might feel that way, and a lot of 12th housers might be in that predicament. Okay, all right, so that is house 7 through 12. Next segment, I'm gonna see if I can talk from Aries all the way to Pisces, but I might break it up like I broke this up. Okay, I don't want to keep you guys too long. I'm looking at the time, and it's actually my birthday and the time, and I've been seeing this a lot. So if any of you guys are good in astrology, or excuse me, not astrology, good with numerology, and know why I keep seeing my birthday in the form of time, let me know what you think, because I see it constantly. Okay, I know that's random, but I'm going to go on to the next segment, okay? Hey, babies. Okay, I'm going to see if I can go through Aries through Pisces. If I can't, I'll stop at Virgo, and then I'll do Libra through Pisces. Okay? So, Aries, right? If your 7th house is in Aries, that means that when you meet the person that you're interested in, they're going to be showing, it's going to be a situation in which they show their personality, it's going to be big on their first impression, showing off their looks. It's going to be very appearance, first impression based. Okay. So for instance, if someone is, say, their 7th house is in Aries and their 7th house ruler is in the 5th house. 5th house represents talent. So maybe their talent is their beauty. Like, it could be, or their talent is their TV personality. So it's their beauty and how they talk and connect with different audiences. So you see how they kind of come together like that. It's there. You have to connect both of them. So it will have to do with them be their first impressions. It will have to do with how they look, how their appearance is, how their personality is, their first impressions. Okay. I think I'm gonna be able to get through all the signs in this one segment. Let's see if I can do it. All right. Taurus, again, is similar to the houses. Okay, so it'll have to be. It's probably going to be about their money, but their own there's them building their own money up, building their own self-worth up. So for example, again, say the person's 7th house is in Taurus, but the 7th house ruler is in the 9th house. A good example of that is that this person is a guest speaker in a university, or in a church talking about being like working on self-helpness and trying to like how do you build oneself up, or how do you build your money up, going to a church or going to a college talking about how to be an entrepreneur, and you meet that person that way. You see the connection? You see how I'm working this out? All right, now next, Gemini. Next, Gemini. Okay, so Gemini has to deal with communicating. So this person is going to be talking, shooting the shit. Like, their personality is going to be fly as fuck because they have a good face. You know what I mean? Not literal face, but they know how to put face on. Like, they know how to relate to everybody. They go to you, talk to you. They go to you, talk to you. This person is going to be extremely smart too, because Gemini represents thought processes. So if you're aspected well with Gemini, you probably are smart. Aspected well with Mercury, probably are smart. Okay, so you're gonna this person's gonna be connected with their intellect, right? So for instance, if the person's 7th house is in Gemini and the 7th house ruler is in the 11th house, this person is probably going to be talking to a mass group of people, and they're going to be talking to these big groups of people because they are intelligent and they have great ideas, and they can really motivate people to go do something, to rebel and to be strong and fighting in their cause. And that one person from that group is going to see them, be in awe, and they'll be connected that way. Okay. All right. If your 7th house is in, what's next? Cancer. Cancer kind of rules privacy and emotions, your private emotions, what you feel deep inside. These folks are also connected with like family and stuff, but it's kind of privacy and emotions and your innermost emotions. Okay, so for instance, if your 7th house is in Cancer and your 7th house ruler, say, is in let's give a random one. I can't think of one right now for some reason. 7th house ruler, say, is in I can't think of a good house to put it in. Say it's in the 5th house, right? So say that like there's a small get together and you're at a party, and strangely enough you're talking to someone, and you in the part and you're actually, let me switch this over. You're in your friend's house, right? So you're comfortable in your friend's house, but there's a party in your friend's house, right? And so the party's at your friend's house, you're enjoying yourself, that's the 5th house coming through. That's the party, enjoying yourselves. But you're in your friend's house, you're comfortable, and so you're able to kind of be your private self, show your inner emotions, because your friends are there and you feel comfortable, and you're not going to be really judged that way. And then someone sees how you are, they're like, wow, this person's fly, let me go holler at them, let someone see if they can hook me up. Bam, right there. Okay, that's just an example. All right. If your 7th house, again, we're all in connecting this, if how you're going to meet your future bae. Okay, not how your future bae is going to be. All right. So next is let's have to cancel Leo. All right, so say your 7th house is in Leo. This is what I have. Okay, and let me use my example. Okay, say your 7th house is in Leo, and it's in the 12th house. Leo just represents generally self-expression, talents, you giving something to the world, giving your talents to the world, displaying your talents to the world. Say it's in the 12th house, right? So say that you are a singer, a songwriter, a painter, and you paint and you do all these beautiful things with your talents and everything, right? And there's a person that has a really, really big crush on you and don't know how to tell them. They don't know how to tell you that they have a crush on you. So they are your secret admirer, and they write little notes to you, and they send you flowers and send you chocolates and say they're too scared to talk to you. And it kind of goes like that, and you somehow get connected through a blind date. And that's the person, and they finally tell you who they are. So that would be kind of like a situation. I have this placement. I hope that doesn't happen to me. I'd rather have my astral realm dreams, but but it is a possibility. Okay. All right. So now let's have to Leo. Virgo. If Virgo is in your 7th house, Virgo again represents organization, routine, frequency, doing things in an organized manner. And it represents thought processes too, but not more on like quick thought processing and kind of like intellectual thought processing, even though Virgos are very, very smart. It's not more like that. It's more about being practical, putting your ducks in a row, that type of smartness, than more of a Gemini type of smartness. You know what I mean? It's more of a like being practical, putting things in a row, making sure you do things right so it can build and things could be better and expand and you know, get better in time, and you kind of have a process going well. You know what I mean? That's what I think of when I think of Virgo energy. So if you meet someone, if you have your 7th house in Virgo, and say that your 7th house ruler, which will be Mercury, is in the 10th house, right? So you meet someone, or someone meets you through your status, right? And the thing is, though, they meet you because you find out later in life, you know, after you're with them, that they kind of set a plan to meet you, not in a creepy way, but they're like, listen, I admire this person. This person's cool. So what I'm going to do is do this, do that, do that, do that. You kind of see their organization, or you kind of see like how they've been trying to hit you up at a frequent time, or you're going to see actually that when they do connect with you, they're the person that will always send a thank you every time they send a little thank you note, always send thank you cards, holiday cards. Like they kind of got their shit in order, and you're like, whoa, okay, I see you. You know what I mean? It would be something like that. Okay. That's if they have their, and I mean, actually that's if you have that placement. Okay. It'll be a situation in which they'll be super organized, or you'll be super organized, and you're kind of like, oh, and they're kind of like, oh, you know what I mean? It'll be like that. Next is Libra. So with Libra energy, it's kind of like relating to somebody, getting to know them, kind of like understanding the compatibility between one person and another. You know what I mean? So for instance, say that someone's 7th house is in Libra, the 7th house ruler is in Gemini. So they meet the person within the community. But the thing is, they know this person that they meet in the community, everybody knows them, they're pretty cool, but they have a special bond with this person, not from like knowing their deepest secrets, but y'all are just super compatible, and you really get to know each other, and you know this person more. You don't know their like deep secrets and shit, but you know this person more, can connect this person more than the rest of the community. So you feel kind of special, and you're like, oh, see, we're pretty compatible. Let's see if we can make this work out. Be something like that. Okay. after Libra is Scorpio. So Scorpio represents, again, connecting with someone intimately, just like the 8th house. So this reminds me of, again, like all the things that I listed with the 8th house, like meeting someone through the occult or something like that. So for instance, if someone's 7th house is in Scorpio, and say that the 7th house ruler is in the 1st house, right? It'll be one of those weird situations in which, you know, the person, you know, you go up to the person comes to you and they just start talking to you and they get into know you and everything. And all of a sudden, like one of y'all are just spilling your guts out. Like you're getting to know this person's secrets and you're really like, you know, not just relating to the person like in the 7th house. It's like you're getting to know their shit. You know what I mean? But strangely enough, it's just really, it's endearing and you really care for them and you start to fall in love with them. I know, crazy. Another thing, and let me give you another example for this too. It could be like, okay, this person just comes up to you, be like, yo, you know, I saw you're a tarot reader. I don't know much about you. I don't know much about tarot reading, but tell me what you know about me. And they give you the reading, or you give them a reading or whatever, and they end up bonding off of that and end up starting a relationship with that. So that could happen too. You know what I mean? Sagittarius. So Sagittarius again is you know, understanding different philosophies, different ways of living, foreign ideas, stuff like that. And the reason why it's like, you know, different and foreign ideas is because they're in their passion. They have a strong passion, but their passion comes from, like, jumps from one place to another, to another, to another. You know, it's mutable fire. So it's like loving this, loving that, loving that, loving that, and just jump into things that you love all over the place. Okay. So, gonna be a good example for this one. So say it like this, right? Say the person's 7th house is in Sagittarius, so their 7th house ruler is in the 5th house, right? So this reminds me of this, like, say that you meet this person at a party, right? And you're party hopping. You're not planning to like stay at a party. You go hop to another party. You see that person there too. You're like, what the fuck? Like, all right. Jump to another party. You see that person there too. You're like, what the fuck? You keep seeing the same person, and the person is cool, and you're in there, and you're like cool with them, but you're seeing that they kind of vibe how you vibe. You can't stick to one place at once. You just jump into different parties too, and then you kind of vibe with them. And you guys might end up just hopping to different parties together, and y'all connect and y'all love each other from there. That's actually a kind of cute and funny way that a person with Sagittarius in the 7th house with their 7th house rule in the 5th house would meet. Okay. They can also meet too by, like, they both just jump into different talents, and they happen to like the same talents or appreciate each other because they do that. Okay. Next sign is Capricorn. If your 7th house ruler is in Capricorn, again, the status is a big thing, or control, not control of other people, but control of themselves. That's one thing I always want to make sure people understand when it comes to Capricorn energy. Okay. Capricorn energy is, they're practical, but they move forward with their practicality. Like, they push forward and they try to get things going the most practical way possible. They don't want to hold it in. They don't want to jump from place to place. They just want to go for it and take action, right? So with that, say if a person 7th house is in Capricorn, and their 7th house ruler is in, I have to think, let me think, because I feel like I used so many of the houses, y'all. I'm trying to make sure I get this right. I'll say the 9th house. I know I already used it already, but I'm just going to say it. Again, like I said, like Capricorn's connected with status and kind of getting control of themselves, not of other people. So say that, this person, I got a good example. So say that there's this person that you kind of see on YouTube, and they're known for like kind of going to different countries and being kind of like a entrepreneurial nomad. And so they have their own business. They get to jump from city to country to city to country to state to whatever, right? And you see how they're moving, and it's really cool, and you kind of have a crush on them too, but you don't want to be a creep. And so the thing is, you say like, all right, like let me somehow connect with them, because they kind of are overbooked and like connect with different people. And so you connect with them in a different country. And so you see how they both come together. Like, yes, different countries involved. That's like kind of the 9th house thing. But the Capricorn energy comes through because they're known, again, their status, they're known for, and literally their career, they're jumping to different countries and different cities and living their life. And that's a part of their status. That's a part of their career. You know what I mean? So that would be a great example of that. Working through these, y'all. Got 2 more. Okay, Aquarius. So maybe if you're Aquarius, 7th houser, right? So your 7th house is in Aquarius. This is connected to friends. This is connected to networking. This is connected to it's connected to kind of sticking to one idea or sticking to one cause, but expanding all of that cause. You know what I mean? Kind of knowing that cause all up and down, so they can really dive deep and just get into that cause, get into that subject. That makes sense, right? That's that fixed air. You know what I mean? So, but Aquarius is known for like networking, friends, perception of talents and stuff like that, right? So say that, Aquarius, you have Aquarius 7th house, but your 7th house ruler is in the 4th house, right? Another house party situation. You're at your friend's house. So you're at your house. Say that you're at your house, but you're throwing your friend a party. And so you're telling your friends to invite your friends and their friends' friends and the friends' and all that. And somehow, some way, right, your friend can introduces you to this person that you're super duper interested in. And y'all get to vibe there. So, you got some of that friend energy, but you met specifically in your home, your own home, and from the party you was throwing for your friend. Okay. And then lastly is Pisces. So Pisces is your 7th house. That means, first of all, you're a big romantic. Your emotions bounce from here to there to there. You're very empathic. You're not very empathic, but you're kind of can touch your empathic ways more easily. Everyone's empathic if they want to be, but you kind of can sense it more easily than others. And Pisces is connected to the unknown, spirituality. They can really tune into other aspects and dimensions of the universe. You know what I'm saying? And so, say if you are, say you have your Pisces in the 7th house, and your 7th house ruler is in the 2nd house, right? So, you meet this person, because they are building, you just randomly meet this person because they are trying to build their own business, but their business is connecting to the spiritual aspects of gemstones. You know what I mean? And so, like, you're not, like, getting into their business. You might even be a customer of their business. You might just want to get to know their business more. But you are connected because of this unknown spirituality and the connections of gemstones, right? It's just, has a spirituality aspect to it. And shoot, if it's the rose quartz, there's a romance right there. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, you met them from them kind of building their own material worth, their self-worth. You know what I mean? So there it is, y'all. Got all the signs through in one segment. Bam. Okay. So the next segment, though, nope, it ain't over, niggas. Next segment, I'm going to give you an example of one of my friends. Give you an example of my friend and her boyfriend's composite chart. And then after that, I'm going to do a last words and we can go on from there and I'll leave y'all alone. But I'm hoping y'all enjoy this because I like talking about, this is probably one of my favorite subjects, the seventh house rulers, because love's fun to talk about, but astrology in general is fun to talk about too. So yeah, that's what we're gonna get with, y'all. Yeah. Hey lovies, this segment will be pretty short, but I wanted to show you how this can be applied in both composite charts and in natal charts. So I gave you my example. Again, my example is probably not the most clear because I haven't met this person yet, but I've definitely gotten more signals than one, knowing that, this is supposed to be like an important person in my life at the very least. And because I have my seventh house ruler is in the 12th house, no matter if I use Leo or Virgo, they are coming to me in a unconscious way, or in a kind of a spiritual type of way. And so, in my case, I'm literally first meeting this person in my dreams because we're hanging out in the astral realm. You know what I mean? Some people are probably like, what in the fuck? Because they're just more of a non-spiritual type of astrologer, but I'm both. So now you gotta listen to both. But yeah, that's interesting because, like, in my case too, I also like sing and write songs, and singing and writing songs is a big part of the dream that I usually have with them. So there's my talents coming through. My psychic ability is a talent within itself, and for me to be able to have these dreams and remember them is really important as well. And then the interesting part with this, though, and I'm seeing the connection with, is a little bit of Virgo's energy is in there too, because a lot of, even though Virgo was not the ruler of my seventh house, or not the sign of my seventh house, it is most of Virgo is in my seventh house, you know what I mean? And so it's funny because even though the dreams doesn't have a consistent frequency, I have these astral dreams frequently. You know what I mean? So it's not in, the nice pretty order. And then, when I think about it, I should kind of mark the times and the days I have these dreams because I can probably see, like, I probably have it every certain moon or every, like, 3 weeks. You know what I mean? It probably is like a real frequency to it, but it is a part of, it is a frequent part of my life. You know what I mean? So there's like the Virgo energy kind of coming through in there too. So that's how it applies to me personally. And once I meet this person, I'll definitely be able to talk to you guys about it. Only if they're like fine with me talking about that too. You know what I mean? But yeah. So how it applies to my friends, I was reading my friend's composite chart, and she was just with someone that she is with right now, and she really is feeling them, and it's just a sweet, nice relationship. So what was interesting is their 7th house ruler is their 7th house has Aries, and the 7th house ruler is in the 11th house. So I was like, this is interesting. And so when you think about the 11th house, again, you think about friends, you think about non-immediate family members, and you also think about internet. So I asked her, I was like, well, did you guys hook up through your friends, or did like an aunt or an uncle hook you up or something like that? She's like, no. She's like, I actually met them on Tinder. Now, remember I said that like social networking and the internet is connected to how the people meet? There it is right there, right? And so she also said too that she saw his profile, liked it, got his information, and then deleted the app, right? Now, when you think about, like dating apps, right? They have a profile. You see their first impression. Remember how I told you Aries represents their first impression, how you look, what you write in your blurb, your personality, how you are, your persona, what you give off. So look at that. You know what I mean? You see, in a social media app, you get to see someone's first impressions. You base it off of, if you like them, if you're interested in them, off of that. It's through the internet. It's through an app. So it's connected to the 11th house too. Isn't that amazing, y'all? Isn't that fucking amazing? Like, I swear, every time when I read people's charts and it comes out like, when I read people's charts, it always comes out accurate. Like, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not trying to be funny. But when it comes out like something as crazy as that, like, it always amazes me. Astrology amazes me every day. Like, it's just so amazing. So just this comes to show you that, this could apply with both composite charts, and it could also apply with natal charts. Okay? Stick with me, guys. I have this last words, just giving you guys a little talkity talk, and some motivation and love. And I hope you guys look at this, because I really would be interested in learning more about, how you feel and how this applies to you and your relationships and stuff. What does this say for you? Even if you're single, let me know how your stuff looks, how your chart's looking. All right, stick with me, y'all. All right, y'all, this is my last words. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, my Bed and Astrology, talking about the 7th house rulers and how it can show how you meet your future bae. Some of the last words I want to mention is something that I mentioned in maybe the 3rd segment of this podcast, while reading, in the middle of reading, like between the 2nd and the 3rd house placements. Your 7th house rulers was in those houses. You have to live your path. in order to get what you want. And this is a perfect example of that. If you want that, seventh house love, that compatible, loving love, you want that relationship, that, companionship, look at your seventh house and see how you're supposed to get it. You know what I mean? Like I mentioned before, if you look at your seventh house, you'll see that, okay, my seventh house ruler is in the fifth house. So that means that I'm supposed to be having fun. I'm supposed to be exploring my talents, using my talents. I'm supposed to be creating to get that companionship that I want. You know what I mean? And of course you can look at the sign to see how it applies. But it really is strong when it comes to the houses. When you're doing what your seventh house ruler is asking you to do in your chart, that that means you're walking the path that you're supposed to walk, and so you're going to get the gift of the seventh house. And this applies with every single house. So for instance, if you really want to get in connected with the unknown and all of that, you look at your 12th house ruler, see where it is, and then you can see how it's supposed to apply in your life. So for me, for example, if I'm really supposed to get into spirituality, and I'm really supposed to get into the unknown and the universal unconsciousness, my 12th house is ruler is Capricorn. So I have to see where Saturn is at. Saturn is in my 11th house. So I'm supposed to be networking with others, understanding people's perception of my talents, connecting with friends, connecting with people in the spirituality network. You know what I mean? So it applies with everything. So if you're lacking somewhere within your life, and you really want to get the gift of what that house is, what that house represents, look at your house ruler. See where you have to be, what you have to be doing in order to get it, okay? Because that's you following your path. So if you want that love, you want that companionship, look at the seventh house ruling your house and be at that place. And not just be at it and miserable, be at it and enjoy it. Be at that place and enjoy it. Don't focus on it so hard and think about it. Be there and enjoy it. So for me, I have to be in the astro realm, and I have to just enjoy it and be in there and enjoy that. And that's how I can see my lovers in my dreams, So you kind of just really, if you feel like, you're lacking somewhere in your life, see where it applies to when it comes to the houses of astrology. Look at that house ruler and then see where the house ruler is to know where you have to be to get that gift. Whether it be love, whether it be money, whether it be companionship, emotional bond, sex, anything. Okay? Also, I forgot something with the fifth house. And I always do this with the fifth house in Leo. I'm a Leo moon, so it's all love. I love me some Leos, okay? One quick thing with y'all. You might meet your person if your seventh house rules in the fifth house within a one-night stand. You might have a one-night stand, and for some weird reason you connect with the person and you don't let them go and you end up marrying them. It can happen, all right? It can happen, all right? All right, y'all. So with that being said, have a good day. I hope you enjoyed this word, y'all. And please comment, like, subscribe, share, care, all that good stuff. Contact me. I think the next podcast episode, I might be talking about Lilith. I might not. We'll see. We'll see. All right, loves. I hope you have a lovely, beautiful day and a beautiful night. I'm going to be going to sleep. All right, y'all. Peace.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.